Before we get into the video, make sure you guys like, subscribe if you're new. I mean, come on, what are you doing if you're not sub to me by now? My content is fire. From Transformers news videos, stop motions, toy reviews, toy photography breakdowns, music occasionally. My Instagram and TikTok are all linked down below. And yeah, let's get straight to it. Hello and welcome to the stop motion review on Legacy Evolution TARN. It's so crazy that I finally have this figure in hand and I can do a stop motion review for you guys. And I just really love the look of this guy. The silhouette of him is great. You could tell it's TARN from the comic books and the Cyberverse cartoon even. Love the dark colors with the black and the grays and the browns and obviously the purples and the grays and the silver and bronze touch-ups. Just a lot of great color and even some clear plastic in there too. And a lot of dope sculpted details, and it's very reminiscent of the Siege detailing because obviously this is a Cybertronian tank, and the back carries over some of that details too, while a little bit scarce because it's the back. And he is a little bit too skinny to me, like a side profile. It feels like he needs some extra beef to him that's sort of lacking that we see in the comics and especially in the Cyberverse cartoon. And then just look at that crisp head sculpt with the Decepticon insignia mask. It's unfortunately not removable to show off Damus or Glitch, whatever you want to call his original self. Just a lot of nice sculpted details, and the purple paint for the Decepticon mask really blends well. There is light piping, but it doesn't work too well unless if you have the light bulb like right behind his head like I do in this picture. So if you're a toy photographer or a stop motioner, I would recommend, if you really want to, just editing the eyes to give it that glow. And his Megatron reminiscent arm cannon is cool with the asymmetrical cannons on each side. A lot of nice sculpted details, and the dark purple paint over the sort of pinkish reddish clear plastic is really nice too. And the bottom of it, in the top there's a port on there as well, and you could remove the two guns, so you could do whatever you want with those. There is some hollow plastic on there, and that does suck a little bit, but it's the inside, who really cares about that. And there are two peg holes on the base of the arm cannon, so you could configure it however you want and add whatever other weapons you want to put in there. And it does rotate the gray piece that I was talking about, so you could configure it on the arm in different ways. And the two guns tabbed together, you could hold it, which doesn't really look too good in my opinion. I'm just gonna leave it as his traditional arm cannon. There's also a peg hole on the back where you could plug in the base of the arm cannon like that, and then you could add in the two cannons, and you could give him this sort of back cannon sort of thing with the other two little tank guns back there. So you could have 4 blasters on his back, which is alright. It's not really something that I want to do often, but it is a good option, I suppose. There's 2 peg holes, or 3 peg holes I should say, on his arms, 2 on the forearm and 1 on the shoulder to tab the gun in. This is how I like the configuration because it allows for the most elbow movement and arm movement in general, in my opinion. Maybe I'll find a different configuration later on that allows for more, but this is what I could find for now. The paint on him for the most part is perfect, but on the head sculpt on both sides of his circular ears, there's like purple paint bleeding through on both sides. You can sort of easily remove it, but I just want to keep it in to show you guys for the video. That is sort of ugly looking, but it could have been worse with the paint. Hasbro's QC can be bad at times these days. Another issue I have with him is the amount of clear plastic on him. It is nice to give that detail of like energon flowing through him, but there's clear plastic on places where there's hinges and stuff that has to transform, like on his chest area and on his back, where the 2 miniguns are. I don't think it's gonna hold up over time with how plastic is with Hasbro Transformers in recent memory, but I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because I actually really do like this figure and I like the details of it. Now it's time to show off this bot's articulation. Let's do it! I do want to note that the shoulder movement, the way it moves, it's similar to Hot Rod and Jixis, where it's a little awkward for certain poses, but nothing too jarring. I mean, it's an alien robot. I don't expect it to move fluidly like a human all the time. That inward arm joint that I showed off earlier, like I just showed you guys right now, can really be useful when moving the arm up with the arm cannon attached, because it gets a little bit more movement and you can move the arm in just a little bit to give clearance from the gun and where the tread shoulders are, which is a good touch in my opinion. There's this dope engineering when you move the hips out. That purple piece that attaches to the gray thigh piece moves out with it to give it more room for clearance, as you can see here when I zoom in on it. It just adds to more of the articulation when you move the hips outward. Now it is that time in the video where we go and transform this guy. And there he is in tank mode. Cool little Cybertronian tank. There are some things I don't really like about it, which I'll touch here in a second, or in a minute I should say. But yeah, nice details that you can see in the robot mode as well. There's not much new revealed on this guy. Everything just connects together and folds up. Really simple transformation, and it makes for a decent Cybertronian tank. I mean, it's not too big when comparing it to other vehicle modes, but there is some nice tread details that are still prevalent. Some silver paint, bronze, typical color scheme for TARN. Here's how the bottom looks. The head is still a little bit visible, but you can turn it around like I did to make it look better. And the top looks better than the bottom, as it should. As others have stated, the visible hand syndrome behind the tank mode is a little ugly. I gotta say, I just have to. There are little nubs that are fake wheels. I don't know why they would add that in there, considering the treads aren't painted, so it's a little weird, but nothing bad, obviously. There are stress marks on the holes for the tabs where you connect the chest into the shoulder treads, so just be wary of that. And there are stress marks on the hand joint on, I think, the right arm, I believe. So just watch out for those two things. I hate stress marks on new figures, but it just seems to be the norm now with these new ones. Now to show off tank mode articulation. Now, I gotta say, with all the hype to this figure, I think he lives up to it in some aspects. I mean, there's no hollowness to this guy. He has hand articulation, and the articulation is pretty fantastic for a Voyager class these days, so I think it is warranted in some aspects. But in terms of him needing a bit more meat on his bones and the clear plastic on hinges and stuff, I don't think that's things that should be just looked over lightly. And the stress marks that I showed off on a figure that I've only transformed like 2-3 times and I just have had for less than a week is a little annoying. It seems to be like stress marks are happening a lot easier on these newer releases these past couple years, so I don't know what's going on with that. But overall, those couple problems, I think I'd have to give this guy an 8 out of 10. Very great Voyager class figure. If you can pick him up, but I wouldn't pay anything above retail because I just don't think it's worth it, and I think it's a little overhyped. But yeah, 8 out of 10, pretty great Voyager. Pick him up if you can for retail. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say in this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye!